Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Kirsty and this is Stuck in the Mud. Sorry if I sound a bit croaky, my very generous children have given me another cough and cold, but I really have missed uploading for you guys and I really wanted to get back on here and do another video. If you've been enjoying my videos, please remember to like them, and if you haven't already, why not subscribe to my channel, Stuck in the Mud, because the more people that I can get to subscribe to the channel, the more people we can help and get the message out there to people with OCD that you don't deserve to live this way anymore. And there is help and you can get better from this. So in today's video, I'm talking about the common theme with OCD, which is, am I a bad person? Because when we have OCD, we have a very overinflated sense and feeling of what is right and wrong. And whilst that is a great thing to have a good sense of morality, OCD will take it to the extreme. We hold ourselves to account for every thought, every word that comes out of our mouth, every action we take. And our moral compass is extremely high. So we give ourselves no leeway in how we conduct our life. And of course, no one is perfect. But OCD won't take any less. And couple that with doubt we feel alongside this disorder, and then we leave ourselves open to all the uncomfortable emotions that will come alongside that, like shame and guilt. And we never will trust our memories as well. So that can then start with false memories about certain situations we may have been in the past. And not to mention all the painful and time-consuming compulsions we'll then feel compelled to do, because we want to take away that feeling of doubt and confusion that we're feeling over all these intrusive thoughts we're getting about, am I a bad person? What does this say about me? We scrutinize everything and we're looking for that conclusion that, no, I'm a good person. And the worst thing we can probably do is, overanalyze it and try and challenge it and try and come up with for and against why I'm a good person and why I'm not a bad person. But that's just OCD playing its game. It's playing its game and it's trying to get you involved and trying to get you hooked in, just trying to work this out. And that is what we don't need to do. That is the least thing we need to do with OCD. The more we engage with it, the more intrusive thoughts we get, the more rituals we'll want to carry out, because it's never satisfied, OCD. And that's the one thing I really want to get across in my videos, is the more we engage with it, the bigger it becomes, the stronger it becomes. My experience growing up with OCD has been a challenging one because it's affected me for around 40 years. And yeah, there's some times of my life I've been functioning quite well. You can go to work, you can interact with people and go about your day-to-day life. And no one would even probably know you have OCD. You're not really outwardly showing any symptoms, but it's always there. And I think anyone going through OCD will understand that. There may be times in your life when it's very quiet OCD and it's in the background, but it's always there to a lesser degree. And then there's the times when it really blows up and it gets really loud and it starts to affect our day-to-day functioning. And I've been there many a time too. But we don't deserve any of that. We deserve to live the fulfilling life without answering OCD's relentless questions, all the what ifs, the trying to figure everything out and come to some kind of conclusion. We're often bombarded with these intrusive thoughts every day and we just want answers. We don't want that doubt. We want certainty. There's the word. Certainty. We definitely want to come to some level of certainty about it, and we can't have that. And that's why OCD is such a trap. It knows that you can't get certainty, so it's just relentless. It will keep you hooked in that cycle, and the more we engage with it, the more bigger it will get, the more stronger it will get, because it feeds off our uncertainty, and it's a doubting disorder at the end of the day. It really is. And we can do something about it. We can get better from this. One experience when I was younger, I remember quite clearly, and it's just a really kind of petty thing, but I remember going to the theatre with my family, and I'd seen this trick, or I'd heard about this trick where you can put a 20p piece into the binocular slot. So you've had some binoculars that you could use in front of you so you could see the stage better. And I remember someone had given me this trick to put the coin in and then take the coin back and still release the lock. And I remember trying this when I was at the theatre, and it worked. I got the binoculars out, as a kid, playing with these binoculars and seeing what's on stage. But then I felt really guilty about it, like really guilty. And I remember before I left, I had to put the 20p in, even though, it's 20p, it's just such a trivial thing. But I do have a sense of morality about that, about, doing the right thing. And that, like I say, that inherently isn't a bad thing, doing the right thing. But we feel so much, like I say, so much guilt over it and shame over the slightest thing we do, whereas most people wouldn't even give it a second thought. And isn't a bad thing, but we can really go to town with that with OCD. We take it to the next level. Like, I'm going to get arrested. I'm going to have a terrible reputation. We could go that far with it, and that's because OCD just won't give up. It won't give up with anything. It wants our attention, and it will do its best to get it from us. And then as I got older, I would have the sense, and this is the big thing with Am I a Bad Person, because we will hold ourselves to account for every thought we think, and we'll feel like the worst person in the world just because we had a bad thought, for example. Like, for me, and this is something I've struggled with, is those images and those intrusive thoughts of harm and violence to others, even my children. And those are not nice thoughts, but I'm not enjoying them in the slightest. And that's the thing with OCD. They are unwanted, intrusive thoughts. We don't want these. They're not enjoyable. In fact, they're the complete opposite. They're giving us so much anxiety and panic and terror over these thoughts because we're not having a good time here. This is not what we want to be thinking. And OCD knows that. So it'll give us more of them. And the more we involve ourselves and try and work out why we're getting these thoughts, the more we'll get back, because it's saying this to our brain, this is important. We need to work this out. We need to figure out why we're getting all these horrible, nasty thoughts, And we really do. We'll just try and figure out why. Why is this happening to me? And we even just thinking the thought, we've not acted on it. This hasn't happened in reality, but it's just a thought in my head. But we don't even want those thoughts there. But guess what? Everybody gets those thoughts from time to time, but they know it's unimportant. It's just a passing event in the mind. It's just a strange random thought. And then they'll go. And you know what? People will often, without OCD, will say that they don't get thoughts like that. But because they're so fleeting, they barely even notice them. But everybody, mark my words, will get those thoughts. But they won't remember them because they see it as unimportant. It's just a random weird thought that they had in their head. But because we're very oversensitive to these thoughts and just the type of people we are, I know from a psychologist friend of mine, and he said, I'm really sorry you're affected by this, because he deals with people with OCD every day. And he said, because of the kind of person you are, you're very sensitive and you're a lovely person. You're a nice person. These things affect you that way. And that's where I take the good out of OCD, because we are good people. We don't want to cause harm to anyone. We just want to be sure. And we can't get that with OCD. We can't get that certainty, because although we're not going to act on these thoughts and these images, that we're getting, OCD is a disorder. It's not your fault. We can't control what thoughts we get in our head, but we can control what we do with them, what we do about our thinking. And that is the key, really, is not trying to control anything, not trying to push anything away, because the more we do that, the more they'll come back to us, because our brain knows it's not, it knows that you're trying to push these away, and it's going to go, hold on, we need to pay attention to that, because why are you trying to get it away so quickly? This obviously is important if you don't want it there. So we're sending the wrong signals to our brain when we do that, when we try and push these thoughts away. And if we engage in a ritual, again, we're strengthening the importance of it by doing a particular routine or a particular whatever ritual it may be. It could be even just ruminating over it, because that is an actual ritual in itself, when we actually ruminate over these thoughts. So, because you may be like me, as I've got older, I've been, I'd say, purely obsessional. But the ritual is actually ruminating when you think about it, because that's the thing we do with it. We just mull over it and chew over it for hours on end. But we don't have to do that with OCD. There is something we can do about that. We can't control what thoughts come into our head. These are just thoughts. It doesn't matter what the content is. It doesn't matter. It could be anything. There's no thought that isn't allowed. Every thought is allowed. And that is something my therapist always said to me, and it's a great thing to say to yourself if you're having a difficult day. Any thought is allowed. That really is what it's about, is just trying to find that balance and go, no, that's fine. They can be there. Those thoughts can be there, and letting them be there, but doing as least as possible with it. And that's going to take time, because when you're so well rehearsed in involving yourself with your thoughts and trying to figure it all out, we're going to immediately go to that. We're going to go, oh, but this will make me feel better if I get some reassurance over this, and I'll come to some kind of answer. But it doesn't work that way with OCD. OCD will not give up. You may feel slight reductions in anxiety if you get a little bit of reassurance from someone, for example, but in the long run it backfires, because we're involving ourselves and we're signaling to our brain that this is important when it doesn't. Well, it isn't. It definitely isn't important. So these are just my thoughts on being a bad person, because it's definitely there when you have OCD. We're very aware of it, and that's because you're a good person, and that is honestly the truth. When you have OCD, you have that high sense of right and wrong, and that's a good thing, but it's very overinflated, and we can't rationalize when it goes to that extreme. We just resort to trying to figure it all out, and that's kind of where we get stuck. So letting them be that is the way forward. I know I talk a lot about this with metacognitive therapy, detached mindfulness, because when we can just see these for just thoughts, they're not a part of us. We can see them as separate from ourselves, and that has been a great help to me with OCD. Is these thoughts are not me. They don't say anything about me. They're so far from anything about me, and that can stop it in its tracks. It'll take time. This is not a quick fix. It's an actual behaviour change doing this, and that takes some getting used to. So just take it in small steps. Celebrate those small changes you make every day, when maybe you've caught your rumination maybe 5 minutes into it rather than an hour. That's a big achievement. But we're just clawing it back and just making those interactions with OCD less, and just celebrate those small wins every day, and eventually you get there. It becomes second nature to you. It definitely has for me. And for a long time I was doing the work, I was doing all the the therapy, and I wasn't, in all honesty, detaching myself from it. I was still involving myself, and this is why it took so long for me to get better, because although I knew what to do, I wasn't doing it. And that is the big thing, if we're not actually following through with the therapy and doing what we're supposed to do. So I really hope this has helped you today to see that, you're not a bad person. This is OCD, and it says nothing about you. We are allowed to think any thought, we can think any image. This doesn't reflect on you. It doesn't say anything about you. You know, just because we think a thought, it doesn't define you. And I really want to take you to take that away from this video today. Just having a thought is just a thought. It doesn't define you. So thanks for watching today. Please remember to like the video if you have found this helpful, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And I did get to the end of the video without coughing, although I feel like I'm going to start coughing now. So I think it's a good time to go, and I'll see you in the next video.